All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Shara Sanders, and I'm the Executive Director for Leadership DeKalb, and just honored to be here tonight hosting this forum. We are a big thank you to the candidates for coming tonight. They have very big, busy schedules. Also wanted to thank our moderator, Dan Whisenhunt from Decaturish, and also the South DeKalb Senior Center for agreeing to host this in this location. We are also very happy to be partnering with several organizations. We have DeKalb Citizens Advisory Council. We have Mary Hinkle here for on behalf of them. We have from the Rockbridge Coalition, we have Lance Hammonds here tonight as well. DeKalb United, we have Claudette Lee. Thank you very much. And we also have from 100 Black Men of DeKalb County, President Levitt is here. I don't know if you want to say any words or just wave. All right, he's just waving tonight, thanks, sir. And we also are partnering with additional community partners, our 100 Black Women Decatur DeKalb chapter, NAACP of DeKalb, Junior League of DeKalb County, and the DeKalb section of NCNW. We also have two folks in front here timing, have Debbie Poe from Leadership DeKalb, and assisting her is Cole Smith. He's a student at Georgia State. He has a test tomorrow, so we're going to try and let him get out and study as soon as we can. And we also have a couple of volunteers from the 100 Black Men Leadership Academy. They were in the yellow shirts directing y'all. We had Julian Reynolds and Tyler Washington were here helping us. So a big thank you to them. And then with that, we're just gonna ask folks to silence their phones. We are live streaming it on Facebook, on Leadership DeKalb's Facebook. We're also recording it on Zoom as a backup. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our moderator. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Welcome to the DeKalb County District 3 Commission Candidate Forum, organized by Leadership DeKalb. I'm your host, Decaturish editor and founder, Dan Whisenhunt. So we're going to go ahead and set some ground rules. We're going to be keeping time. Cole over there is going to give candidates a heads up when there's 30 seconds left on their answer. Each candidate is going to get a 2-minute opening statement, 90 seconds to answer each question. Some of the questions are from y'all, some are for me, some are a little bit from column A and column B. And then the candidates are going to get a 1-minute closing statement. We're going to ask that you hold your applause for the beginning and end of the forum, so we have plenty of time to get through all the questions because we got a lot of ground to cover. I would be remiss if I did not mention that Decaturish was having its fall fundraiser. Visit supportyourlocalnews.com to learn more about that. And with that out of the way, let us meet the candidates. From left to my left, going that way, Andrew Bell.
Good evening.
Thank you. We have Nicole Massiah.
Great evening.
We have Tommy Travis.
Good evening, everyone.
And we have Jakequeline Walls.
Good evening.
So with that, let's go ahead and get started with a 2-minute opening statement. We'll start. One thing I do want to mention is I'm going to rotate which candidates lead off and end each question, so you each have an opportunity to get the last word in or get the first word in, as the case may be. And if I screw up on the order, I apologize. I'm gonna do the best I can. So starting with Andrew Bell, you will have 2 minutes to make your opening statement.
Good evening, Andrew Bell. Running for the DeKalb County District 3 Commissioner. I feel that I'm the most qualified candidate on this panel. I look at myself kind of like a Renaissance man. I grew up here. I graduated from Towers High School in 1996. Left and went to Mississippi Valley State in 1996. And 3 weeks after my 18th birthday in January of 97, I enlisted into the Marine Corps. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I double majored at Georgia State while working a full-time job at Bombardier Transportation. I left there, I went to Spain to study abroad program. I came back, did various jobs, but I ended up at the Federal Aviation Administration, started some nonprofits, and I'm an entrepreneur. So I don't spend my time in government. If anything, I try to fight for the people when the government is overbearing amongst them. I'm gonna hold, excuse me, I'm gonna be transparent, while holding the government accountable when you're elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nicole Massiah.
Great evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Massiah, and I'm running to be your next DeKalb County Commissioner, District 3. I'm a mom, an attorney, a broker. More importantly, I've called DeKalb home, District 3, for over 20 years. It's where I work, where I worship, where I raised my family. The reason why I became an attorney and decided that I would actually run for office is based on my mother not having a voice, a single mom raising myself and my sisters. And so she didn't have a voice as she went through some legal challenges, workplace discrimination. That poured a lot into me, and that I would become the advocate that folks around me need. That is what I'm here to do in District 3, to fight for what we need and we haven't had in a while. We need improvement in terms of economic development, affordable housing and retention, but also public safety and public service improvement. I look forward to being able to answer your questions and earning your vote tonight for DeKalb County Commissioner, District 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tommy Travis.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tommy T. Travis, and I am your next Commissioner for DeKalb County District 3. I come before you tonight as one of the most experienced candidates for the job. I spent the last 20 years in public service. The last 10 years of that, I've served DeKalb County in various roles, such as appointed to the Community Council, District 3, and the SPLOST Oversight Committee. I currently work full-time for DeKalb County in the IT Department for Public Works, so I know how DeKalb County works. I've been part of policymaking decisions. I've been part of moving and shaking and having different and moving different policies from place to place to place. I bring a plan for economic development, public safety, revitalization of the county's IT, education, and supporting our seniors. I believe that not all these are related, because if you don't have strong schools, you don't have a strong community. Without a strong community, you don't have a strong economy. And I aim to provide the wraparound services to education and build those strong, to help build those strong school communities, to build the communities, and to build the economic development here in South DeKalb County. And again, I bring a plan with my experience and my network of experiences. I bring a plan to South DeKalb that can bring the economic development to the county and improve the public safety by working with the new administration and giving her whatever funding that she needs to improve the public safety here in South DeKalb County. I think that DeKalb County, South DeKalb County is full of potential. It's full of potential, but it's up to us to take advantage of that. We have 3 new commissioners starting in January. So I want to be one of those commissioners and that bring about change here to DeKalb County. And again, my name is Tommy T. Travis. I'm running to be your next commissioner in District 3.
Thank you. Jakequeline Walls.
Yes, my name is Jakequeline. Sorry,
I'm so sorry.
it's all good. Jakequeline, Jake Walls. I'm named after my father, Jake Walls. That's why my nickname is Jake. I served DeKalb County as a firefighter EMT for altogether 16 years. Not only did I serve, but my father was a firefighter too, a retired firefighter as well. While being a firefighter, I started a nonprofit where we teach the youth about horticulture, safety, health, wellness, did multiple events, multiple educational seminars with our youth at different elementary schools, rec centers, and parks, and one of the parks which I started. Now I have a non-emergent transportation company where I still serve DeKalb seniors, taking them to and from their doctor's appointments to make sure they get the help and the health issues taken care of that they need. One thing that I know that DeKalb County District 3 needs is a strong leader, a proven leader, a proven servant, and someone that will include you. And that is what I do to this day, and that's what I plan on to continue to do. Some of the priorities that I feel that are needed within District 3 is code compliance, affordable housing, not only for seniors, but also our veterans, public safety, infrastructure, as well as, sorry about that, and housing, affordable housing. What DeKalb District 3 is, they have a great and strong foundation, but what we need is someone that's forward thinking and someone that will include you in those thoughts, that will include you in that plan, that so that we could be inclusive and that we could build a strong, safe, respected community that we all can thrive in together as a community. Elect Jake, November 5th.
Thank you so much. And I do apologize for messing up your name.
No worries.
I like to get this
Jake
thing
is
right.
fine.
Thank you, Jake. So I did want to mention at the outset of the forum that the seat is currently vacant. It was previously held by Commissioner Larry Johnson. He stepped down to run for CEO. That election happened. He's no longer the county commissioner, and so the seat is currently empty. So I just wanted to point that out. We'll start left to right with this question with Andrew Bell and Chris in the audience pulled me aside and said that I had not gotten the question quite right in the last forum. So I'm going to try to get it right this time. So starting with Andrew Bell, what will be your approach to annexation and cityhood if you are elected?
There are a couple communities that are pursuing annexation right now. I was at one of them yesterday, a meeting yesterday at park over in East Atlanta. And there's a community near Black Souls and Fayetteville Road that wants to annex. As a commissioner, I won't step in the way of any community that wants to be annexed, and I will defend the communities that don't want to be annexed. Like I was at a meeting, I think a few weeks ago, where there's a community that's trying to be that Avondale Estates is trying to annex, and the community doesn't want it. So, you know, I'm on the side of the people. If you don't want to be a part of DeKalb County anymore, and you feel that Atlanta or another city is better, then I'm gonna support those people. But if you feel that you're being annexed and you don't want to be annexed, and the government is trying to encroach on your rights, I will defend you.
Thank you. Nicole.
So, in general, I just took my little quick notes really quickly, with the question, but, you know, the issue around annexation and cityhood comes from a discontent with some of the services that are actually being offered. In general, my stance is this, that cityhood without consent of the constituents is just all out wrong. Most of the constituents that I'm speaking with, they have no interest in a cityhood. But before we put any real consideration into whether or not that should take place, we have to consider the control that we would give up by a cityhood. Also, the public services that we would actually get and the tax revenue that we would lose. So there's a lot of analysis that need to go into whether or not we move forward with a cityhood. And I don't think it's just a generalized, question, but we need to make sure we do the proper assessment into those areas and more before we actually put the issue on the table with more forthright. Excuse me.
Thank you. Tommy Travis, same question. Annexation and cityhood.
Annexation and cityhood are two questions that seem like they're the same, but they're very different. Currently, we have a property overall flat show in District 3 and flat shows that's seeking to be annexed. And there's only three ways that a property can be annexed here in Georgia, which is the 100% method, the 60% method, or by the state representative. So with the properties currently right now, they're trying to do it via the 6% method. And the city of Atlanta is currently verifying all of those people who's in that property to verify if they wanted to be there. Same as such would be the case for cityhood, because that would have to go on the ballot. And I would say that, yes, much like my other competitors up here, I think that is definitely for the will of the people. But as a commissioner, I would give people all of the knowledge that they have they would need to consider cityhood, because it's not for the faint of heart. Cityhood has to have some sort of economic development. They have to have an infrastructure. If not, they'll be still paying the county. So I definitely would go with the will of people, but I'll give them all the information as long as they follow the rules of the state. I'll give them all the information that they need to have to make a decision, and I will go with whatever decision the voters make, and if they're in line with the state law.
Thank you. Jake Walls, same question.
Yes, like Bell said, we did go to a meeting yesterday, and that was one of the situations, one of the issues that they was having in this community. And afterwards, I did speak to one of the residents that lived in that community since '96, and she said they've been trying to do this since '96. And that's something that they really don't want to do. They really want to continue to stay with DeKalb because they don't want to have the extra overlay with Atlanta and DeKalb. Sorry about that, Atlanta and DeKalb. And I can understand how she feels about that, because she's been in that community for over 30-something years, and she wants to continue to be with her community. So I stand with the people of that community, especially the ones that have longevity in that area or that have been there in those communities for a long time. one thing that I feel is if we have better services, you actually probably wouldn't want to annex. So let's focus on getting better services to those people so that you don't want to leave me. We want you to stay. We want you to continue to build DeKalb together. So let's make it to where we can include everyone and add them to the list, because that 40%, that 60, that's kind of mean to someone who's been living there for 30-something years, and it's only now 10 people in that community that's been there for 30 years, but now 60% has just moved there for 10 years, and now they want to move you that's been there for 30 years into their, into their city. So I say let's pay attention to the people that have been in the community for the longest, the people that really care for the community the longest, and let's work together to make it happen with our services so we can stay together.
Thank you. Next question, we're going to start with Nicole Massiah. Nicole, what do you feel is the most important issue facing this district, and what is your plan to address it?
So one of the priorities for me is the leadership. And I say that specifically, well, the reality of it is we have 5 or 6 issues, but it starts with the leadership. And so if we don't have the leadership and the infrastructure in place when it comes to our public services, then in our government, then none of the other efforts are really going to matter, and they're not going to manifest in the way that we need them to. We're not going to be able to have quality economic development if we don't have the infrastructure that we need from a governmental standpoint. If we don't have the authorities and the advisory boards and the commission, that are in unison to make sure that we put those referendums and those policies in place to support some of those economic developments, and if we don't get them funded. Additionally, if we don't have proper transportation, then we're not going to be able to attract some of the businesses that we want to be a part of that economic growth that we actually want. So for me, it's the leadership. There's a lot of other issues. Obviously, it needs to be a comprehensive and multi-point approach to resolving the issue. But if we get that together, streamline that, I think that's a great start for us.
Thank you. Tommy Travis, same question.
Over the last year on the campaign trail, I've heard a lot of issues that's been going on here in South DeKalb County. And it's hard to pick out just one thing that I would say focus on, but I've heard things from infrastructure to roads and drainage issues to the streets to parks to sidewalks. But one thing that stands out to me is public safety. If you don't feel safe, nothing else matters. And just across the street over there, not a few months ago, they had a Wild Wild West shootout that was caught on the news, where they had a big shootout with machine guns and the whole 9 yards. But by the grace of God, no one was injured. Now, I think that our public safety department is undermanned, and they have a task in their hand because of the fact that we don't have enough officers. I think that if we fully supply our officers, and I understand that the new CEO is not happy with the leadership as well. So once we have a breath of fresh air in the police department, I think that we can revitalize that problem. And revitalizing that problem means getting more officers, getting into the schools, provide those wraparound services to those students. Because let's face it, sometimes some of the students are causing the problem. Some of these young people are causing problems. We like catch them while they're young and create diversion programs to probably keep them off the streets and give them something to do. So I think public safety is my #1 concern, and I definitely would help to focus on that.
Thank you. Jake Walls.
One of the main ones for me as well is public safety, being that I was a firefighter EMT for the 16 years in DeKalb. So I've seen firsthand, like I said, the shootout across the street. I would have been the first one on scene, probably holding that bullet wound, making sure you get to the hospital safe. So it's really close to home to me when you see these young adults or these young children not having that type of direction to be able to pick another choice, to do something different. And with the public safety, I would support making sure we have the right amount of police officers, but not just that, but programs for the kids, for the youth, for our homeless, for our addicts, because we do have issues with that. Sometimes that's a mental health issue. That's why one reason why when I was a firefighter or with my nonprofit, I did those programs in the youth, in the community. I did those health, safety, and wellness events for the youth and for the seniors. I did the horticulture program after the schools. I still do things in my community to make sure that we, instead of just having to call 911, but to prevent things from happening. And that's what I think we need to start doing when it comes to public safety. Let's try to put some preventive measures in so that we don't have to really focus too much on, we don't have police officers, but we have other resources for our community to be able to thrive with. So public safety is one of my top.
Thank you. Andrew Bell.
you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. What do you think is the most important issue facing this district, and what is your plan to address?
The most important issue to me is economic development, because that's gonna spur everything that's been talked about. The public sector. We don't have the money that we used to have because Dunwoody became a city, Brookhaven is a city, so forth, etc. So the county is trying to do what it did 20 years ago, and it's not functioning properly. I have a degree in economics from Georgia State, and one of my certificates of concentration was in the urban growth. And I think we have to start with the planning and sustainability department. We have to get somebody to lead that department who has a proven track record of revitalization. Okay, the building codes are out of date. You know, people now are building homes with containers and things of that nature. This DeKalb County government is so far out of date, it's ridiculous. We need to, like South DeKalb Mall, for example, we need to revitalize that, get some developments that's gonna bring up the value in the community. We have to get rid of these things, get rid of the blight, the predatory businesses in our community. That's gonna raise the values, and which will have more money for public safety and other things that some of the other candidates talked about. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, we will start with Tommy Travis. Tommy, do you think DeKalb County should spend local money to create affordable housing?
That's a tough question, and I mean, we need affordable housing in the worst way. That's very apparent. I think affordable housing, if we spend it, we could be spent for our public service workers, such as police, fire, and any other public works employees as a recruiting tool. Public housing, I mean, public housing right now, housing rates are through the roof. And there's not much that we can do to control the rates because that's a state issue. The state legislature controls the rent control, and we don't have any control over them because our Georgia delegation is mostly Democratic and the state legislature right now is Republican. So what we can do is what we can do. I think if we were to use any public money, it would be for some sort of housing that we can use as a recruiting to recruit our police and fire and give them somewhere to stay rent-free here in DeKalb County, where they can enjoy the cost savings and it'd be a raise, so to speak, for them.
Thank you. Jake Walls, same question.
Yes, like I said, I was a firefighter EMT, and one way that I was able to afford my home was through neighbor stabilization program. That was a program that allowed for firefighters to move into a home in a certain area. It's called neighbor stabilization. That means you're going to move into this area to stabilize it, and that's what I did. So they gave you about $25,000 to move into a home to make sure that when you get into this home, that you're going to be able to still live in this home and not be furloughed because the bills are low. Yes, I do agree with using some of our tax dollars for that purpose, to make sure that we have our government workers to have housing, and that could be an incentive to retain our public workers, our firefighters, our EMTs, because once they get into the community, not only are they going to serve by you calling 911, but they're going to stabilize the community because they want better where they live also. That I do agree with, but just to take money out of the people's pockets, or out of people's tax dollars, we all need our money, but we all need our safety, we all need our services. We don't want to annex. So let's get to that point right there, but I think that could be used as a good way to retain public service and employees.
Thank you. Andrew Bell.
The answer to that is the government's role is not to, build houses. The government's role is to create policies that will keep housing affordable. So, and one of the candidates said this, we have to go to the state legislature right now because the costs have gone up tremendously since COVID. So if we could get like a rent control in place for maybe 3 to 5 years to prices stabilize, and then we can return back to market-based rent. What we have now is developers coming in, artificially raising up the prices. We have to, get some kind of legislation to prevent these billion-dollar developers from coming in and building these properties and artificially inflating the rent. And also, I think a lot of what happened is during COVID, we were giving money to landlords, and it was over the market rate. And so when the market rate is $1,000 and you give a landlord $2,000, well, everybody else is gonna raise their rent to $2,000. So we have to create policies to lower the cost of living, not just give away money.
Thank you, Nicole Massiah.
Yes, I do think that we should spend local money in order to support affordable housing for our residents. It's our responsibility to make sure that the well-being of the citizens in and around DeKalb County and our district are taken care of. Point blank and period. But how we spend that money is through programs that support affordable housing measures. Is to be able to ensure that seniors can retain their homes. It's also to make sure that we can have young folk that will come back and be able to come back with their family and be able to afford a home. So you provide programs and opportunities for people to be able to afford homes, to live and stay in their homes, to revitalize and repair their homes. But yes, we spend the money because we have to make sure that we limit the unhoused individuals that we have in and around our county. If we don't do that, then we have a surplus of folks that are unhoused. We have that presently now. A lot of times we're criminalizing them, thinking that the jails are going to be able to house them. They're going from one encampment place to the other. Yes, we have a responsibility, and I think we should make it a priority and a focus.
Thank you. We'll start this question with Jake Walls. Jake Walls, what will you do to ensure transparency and accountability in your office if you were elected?
One thing I always speak on is meetings. Getting out there to the community and talking to the community, and not just any meetings, but having community meetings, coming to your community meeting, having the town hall meetings, bringing the department heads that you have issues with or that you need, things taken care of with to those meetings. So you can ask them questions, you can hear what they have to say. Also, make sure I have a relationship with the other commissioners as well as the Madam CEO-elect Lorraine Crockett-Johnson, to allow for her to come to one or two of the meetings that she could come to so that she could understand what we need in the community. I will be transparent not only with that, but also newsletters, podcasts, whichever way to get the information out to the community, we will get it out because I am that transparent person. I can't help you unless you tell me what the pain is. I can't do anything until you tell me what the issue is. So I have to listen to you. I have to hear the problem and then we have to come up with a solution. And then once we come with a solution together, I'll share it with you, or you can share it with your neighbor, or we can share it together. Either way it goes, you're gonna get the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew Bell.
Well, I'm not part of the movers and shakers like somebody said earlier. I'm bringing integrity back. I have a lawsuit against DeKalb County right now in a federal court. So I'm not part of this game. I grew up here. I've seen where the community has gone down. They didn't grow up here, so they don't know how it was. I've seen Atlanta go in the opposite direction. When I was growing up, Kirkwood and Edgewood and East Atlanta was considered the hood. But now, where I live on Glenwood at 285, that's considered the hood. So we've gone in a completely opposite direction. Transparency is not a problem for me. I plan on the meeting that I had yesterday, where we three of the candidates attended at Brownwood Park. That community had a meeting once a month at 7 o'clock. And they work with the city council. They have great participation. And that's something that I want to bring to District 3, because we have to get more participants to address the issues that are of a major concern in the community.
Thank you. Nicole Massiah.
So in order to ensure that we have transparency, one, I think we need to streamline and reinstate some of our advisory boards. I think that's a very necessary evil, if you will, for lack of better words, to make sure that we have another system of implementation and being able to be a conduit between some of the information, that's coming out and disseminating that with the citizens. That way they feel as though they're understanding more of what is going on, particularly when they're not hearing it directly from their commissioner, because that can't happen always, all the time. But I think also the job of an oversight and advisory board is to make sure that some of those checks and balances stay in place. Another is to make sure that the reports and audits are available and prioritize making them available to the citizens, right? Not just disseminating them via email and having some reports that are available via the website. Make sure they're readily and consistently available and updated on a regular basis. But then lastly, to be accountable and approachable and responsive to our constituents is the other thing. If we're not available and if we're not responsive, then it makes it seem like we're hiding something, right? So we have to make sure that we are always present and responsive to the questions that were asked, and we answer those questions consistently.
Thank you. Tommy Travis.
I believe, I'm an ex-athlete, and I believe that you practice like you play. And I ran my campaign as if I'm a commissioner already. I'm the candidate who's 100% transparent in my campaign finances. I've been 100% transparent with county business. I go to I go to commissioners meeting and report on what I find and report on what I see. And I send out a weekly newsletter to many of you here. Many constituents call me when they have a commissioner problem, and I've helped many of you, some of you that are in this room right now, resolve your problem. So to have the transparency that we need, we have to have effective communications. District 3 has over 150,000 residents. It is impossible for one office with staff of 3 people to communicate with all those people manually. You have to use technology to communicate with those people. And I aim to continue to do what I've been doing, which is put out a weekly newsletter, communicate with everyone effectively, definitely have town hall meetings, electronic town hall meetings where everyone can get on the phone and express their thoughts, and with the county officials, the directors and leaders of the county, our staff leaders of the county. So this way we can have accountability, and I've been doing it already, and I will continue to do it as your county commissioner.
Thank you. Next question, we're going to start with Andrew Bell. Andrew, how will you work with other DeKalb County officials to address dilapidated properties in our neighborhoods?
Well, we have to work together to deal with this problem. I mean, the problem is worse here than anywhere in the county. My plan is to have the commercial businesses that are not up to date or as 2024 standards submit a plan, an architectural design, give them 12 months to do that, and then give them 24 to 36 months to put that in place. These buildings were here, this area, with a few exceptions, minus the gas stations and the storage units. We do have a new library, and the senior center, which I just found out today, is private. It's not even public. But those are the things that, you know, with accountability and transparency, I'm gonna let the community know that that's the case. But we have to develop a plan, because this community was built in the 60s. So, and it's 60 plus years later. So we have to bring these buildings up to par so that it can, you know, raise up everybody's values. The commercial district is what's bringing down your value, not your neighbor's grass not being cut.
Thank you. Nicole Massiah.
So I think it goes back to a lot of the code enforcement issues that we actually have. And so you have some property owners, you know, that have purchased, hold on to properties and not properly maintain those properties. And I think it starts with ensuring that there's an enforcement in code enforcement. So there's some amendments that actually need to be made to the ordinance. And I also think that it's a good idea to take some of the, take code enforcement from under the auspices of sanitation and put it under policing, right? And I think that will, one, ensure that people understand how serious it is, but also I think it'll make sure that the court, it will help with the courts to better respect when there's constant, you know, code enforcement issues, particularly by a constant actor. So you have some folks that no matter, you know, how many times you write them up and they get a citation, they will just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and keep having the same results. So I think to enforce code enforcement, but then also lastly, is to ensure that they know that there's actual victims, you know, when the properties aren't maintained because they lend themselves to crime and other issues.
Thank you. Tommy Travis. Absolutely. How will you work with other DeKalb County officials to address dilapidated properties in our neighborhoods?
Well, dilapidated properties and blight, just call it for what it is something that's usually identified first by code enforcement. So obviously, code enforcement would be the first to identify, but I definitely would collaborate with the magistrate court officials to see if there's something that can be done about it, because ultimately, once a code enforcement citation has been written, it goes to the magistrate court. So after that's done, if the owner truly wants to get better, he doesn't know how, then I'll definitely sit down with Mr. DeBar's team at Decide DeKalb and try to devise a plan that will help alleviate this blight down here, which if the owner has a good solid business and just has an ugly outside facade of his business, maybe we can get some funds to help him clean up his facade. And if you do it one business at a time, before long, we have a nice South DeKalb to look at, and we'll be moving forward towards the South DeKalb that we once had. So it's not an overnight thing. I can't guarantee you instant results, but I guarantee you that I will be working on it. It'll be on my mind, and you can communicate with me any given time about any given property. I have a phone. Most of you have my phone number. I will answer it. We can talk about it, and we'll get it done.
Thank you. Jake Walls.
One thing I noticed coming from other meetings that the codes haven't been updated since the 90s. So we might need to start with that. Let's update the codes. Then once we update the codes, let's look at the houses that we're talking about or the businesses that we're talking about and find the owners. That's the issue right there. Sometimes we can't find the owners, especially in private residence in those communities. And when the community around those houses can't find it, usually they end up having squatters in those homes or someone else that comes to those homes. So once we bring the codes up to date, let's find the owners. Now let's find the owners. The owners, honestly, like you said, sometimes they just get a slap on the wrist when it comes to the fine. And a lot of these owners own multiple homes, multiple investment properties. So just giving them a slap on the wrist is not really going to mess up anything with their pockets. So we have to get to judges to understand that we need these investors to take the responsibility of their homes. And if they don't, then they need to pay the price, not just the same amount of price as a regular home, but pay that price, and then allow for PD and code enforcers to really get into the community and make sure we stand by what we decide to do with those homes. We got to stand firm with it so we could build our communities. Like I said, I'm always gonna say together, so we could build our community together, because if we don't, your neighbor that you don't want is going to end up being in that house, and then you're going to have a whole nother issue that you have to work with. So
Thank you. Next question, we're going to start with Nicole Massiah. Nicole, if you were elected, would you vote to reduce the millage rate to lower taxes for property owners?
I would vote to reduce the property tax rate for certain property owners, specifically seniors. I believe that there does need to be systems in place and policies put in place, like tax relief for seniors, particularly because a lot of seniors aren't having elementary, middle, high school children, right? So sometimes it's upward of 27% of the millage rate that actually goes, the tax bill that goes to, paying for education, and those seniors don't have students that are actually in school. And then also you have a lot of seniors that are on fixed income. And so that makes a difference to them. Paying that extra amount or paying that amount net percent when they don't even get to realize the benefit of it by having children in school, I think is improper, and I would reduce particularly for seniors in that case.
Thank you. Tommy Travis.
That is a question that is interesting, because the millage rate, let's look at what it is. The millage rate is driven by property values. And that goes to our earlier question about housing costs and such. And once housing costs go up, the tax assessor, as our tax commissioner back there would tell us, the tax assessor raises the tax rate and raises the taxes on a home in per the millage rate that is voted on by the DeKalb County Commissioner. But let's face it, a third of your tax bill in unincorporated DeKalb County comes from the DeKalb County School Board, and we don't have no say-so in that. I definitely would collaborate with the DeKalb County School Board and get that part that's for senior citizens that are raised. They're paying for children, that they're paying for the school system, and they don't have children in there. Talking to Ms. Candler earlier, is if you make too much money as a senior citizen, that is not abated for you. You still have to pay for that. And I think that that's wrong. I definitely would work with the DeKalb County School Board to try to get that abated. We don't have a vote in it, but I definitely will work my hardest to get it. And as far as decreasing the millage rate in DeKalb County, that goes back to, again, the corporations buying the house and inflating the prices and raising our property values, and the millage rate goes up accordingly. So I think that it's a round robin type of problem that we definitely have to approach. I would vote to decrease the millage rate in a minute once property values are made right and we're not getting overbought out by corporations.
Thank you. Jake Walls.
I'm a person that likes to take care of my neighbor. That's just me always, period. For some, I do agree that the taxes should go down. Seniors, I think once you put your work in, your taxes should go down, especially if you've been living in your house for such a long time. My mom was a senior. I pray that I could be a senior one day. I really do. Veterans, once you put your time into this country and the things that you've done to serve this country, I feel that, yes, you shouldn't have certain taxes that you have to pay because you did that. You protected us. And also government employees who are retired, who stayed in their community, who worked in their community. I believe some of them should have their taxes reduced once they get to that point. Me personally, I'm healthy. I have my mind, I have my strength. I don't mind paying my part of the taxes. I don't even mind bringing my taxes up just so you can have your taxes to be reduced because I know I have the strength to take it on my back. But I do agree that some of people's taxes do need to go down because like I said, I'm ready to be a senior one day. I don't mind putting the work in right now to make sure that I can have those same benefits when I do become that, when I do get to that age, that stage in life. I'm not gonna say age, that stage in life.
Thank you. Andrew Bell.
Yes, of course. I want to get the taxes as low as possible, but I'm not going to double talk you. I'm not going to say, hey, we got to pay for this and pay for that. And then, we got to reduce taxes at the same time. Where's the money going to come from? But there is a misnomer that, you can't go to the tax commissioner's office, seniors or veterans and get certain reductions. I've done it myself as a disabled veteran. Okay, my taxes were reduced tremendously. What the problem is a lot of people don't know. And then what I would try to change is I think you have to do it in January before the end of the month. So I would try to make it a 12-month process where you could go in at any time and have those taxes removed because some people don't know. And then, 11 more months or 12 months passes and you forget to go back down there and then, it's a hamster wheel. But yes, we have to pay for these services. The county is different than it used to be. It's just like they want another animal shelter that they want the county to pay for, but they're not asking Dunwoody or Brookhaven or any of these other cities to pay for it. They just want the county to pay for it. We have to be smarter with our money.
Thank you. Tommy Travis, you're leading off on that question. And since you did mention schools, I figured we'd go with this one. If you are elected, how will you work with DeKalb County schools to serve your district?
Thank you. I will work very diligently. I think that schools education is the foundation. Good education is the foundation of any community. Many of you may already know that I have a background where I served on executive committee for Georgia PTA District 11. And I work closely with a lot of the school board members that are currently there and have relationships with them. And I think that strengthening our schools by providing wraparound services outside of the classroom will help us tremendously. I said this in a conversation before that stronger schools equal stronger community. A stronger community builds a stronger economy. I think that it's critical that our children in these lesser performing schools have the services to give them a better quality of life. So this way they can be free to learn. We in District 3, we have the fortune, I guess you say, of having some of the lower performing schools, and we have some of the highest performing schools. In the lower performing schools, those children may not have food to eat. They may not have a place to stay. It's literally a life and death decision almost every day. Some of those parents have to decide whether they want to eat or pay rent. So I definitely want to be diligent about working with the schools, identifying those parents, provide those wraparound services from mental health to food to housing, to provide those wraparound services, strengthen those schools and help strengthen our community.
Thank you. Jake Walls.
Repeat the question one more time.
Sure. If you're elected, how will you work with DeKalb County schools to serve your district?
Like I mentioned before, I'm already working with the DeKalb County schools. I have Cedar Grove Elementary School. That's why I started the gardening program, horticulture program at, and also help them with getting their rec room for the students who are doing good. I have the gardening program also at Exchange Rec Park, and I also have another program at Fort Creek Mountain Park. I also started multiple events, helping the youth with, like I said, safe, healthy, and wellness, just educating them on their self-esteem, mental health, and also just understanding the responsibility of oneself. So the way I could collaborate with more schools is by putting more programs into even more schools. Now we have elementary schools having sports. I think that is a beautiful thing. That should have always been there. I think more elementary schools should have free sports for our youth so that they could so the parents, not only the youth, but the parents could see their kids and be a part of their kids performing and become that family net that we need. So we need more programs in our schools that will allow for, even if it's on the weekend, we open it up, even if it's in the summertime, we open it up. The youth need to have something to do, and we need to give them something to do that will also bring their family into the unit and make it the whole, like I said, I'm gonna use this word again, make the community thrive together. So that's a big part of what I'm doing already in the schools.
Thank you. Andrew Bell.
Yes, like as on my campaign material, I want to partnership with the schools because DeKalb County Schools has a lot, first of all, and way more money than the county's budget. And we have to get kids and programs and provide them opportunities, positive opportunities that's going to keep them from doing negative things. And, you know, we have to get more skilled trades, things of that nature. My thing is to probably start at 8 as to not affect any of the private, you know, daycare places or whatever. But we have to get some after school programs going so that people can, and for free. So that, because a lot of the worst areas, you know, if you're a single mother and you have 2 children and, like, for example, in the summertime, they say, well, it's just $66 a week. Well, that's a lot of money to come up with in a month's time. To provide, you know, summer camp. Now I was here, I remember when summer camp was free. The only thing your parent had to pay for was field trips and if you wanted some special snacks or whatever. So we have to get back to when things were cost effective, where they had positive programs for the youth. I remember.
Thank you. Nicole Massiah.
I think one of the things that I could do as a commissioner in collaboration is to collaborate with, you hear me? Okay, is to make sure that I'm collaborating with the school system as it relates to some of the upcoming workforce efforts, right? To prepare the youth, since the whole point is to teach them, make sure they're educated and are aware of some of the economic endeavors that are coming down the pipeline and some of the skills and the trades, the experiences that they need to have to prepare them to work with and here a part of the county. Make sure that they're trained, they know what's going on, that the curriculums can reflect, or some of the programs that are taking place can reflect the things that we're putting into place, initiatives we're putting into place so they can be a part of that economic development as well. So I think that's one of the things that we actually do, opposed to, you know, just focusing on, you know, supplementing after school care or summer care. Make sure that they're prepared to go out in the workforce here in DeKalb.
Thank you. We have time for one more question, and we're going to start that with Jake Walls. Jake Walls, what is your greatest priority when it comes to economic development in District 3?
As you know, I have my own business as well, non-emergent transportation company. That's very important to me because it gives you a sense of ownership in your community. When you have that sense of ownership in your community, you want to see your community thrive. You want to see your streets clean. You want to be able to make sure your business thrives through your community. I believe in District 3, we have a lot of entrepreneurs in District 3. Might be hard for them to get their business license. It might be hard for them to start that business, but we have a lot of entrepreneurs in District 3. With that could become the economic development that we have within our own district to build up our own economic development within our district. That's very important to me because that brings that sense of pride to your community when you have that. It's all a part of the same wheel: economic development, infrastructure, code compliance, public safety, affordable housing. all of that could help one another, bring each of it together. So like I said, I agree with economic development, and I think it's a very much so important issue when it comes to any thriving community,
Thank you. Andrew Bell.
I think for economic development, we have to basically focus on about 4 areas right now. That's the Glenwood, Columbia Drive area. That's the Candler-McAfee area. That's South DeKalb Mall district, and probably Boulder Crescent 285. We have to get comprehensive plans and lay out those plans. I don't know, 10, 20-year plan as far as the type of development that we need. We have to get a moratorium on these gas stations. They're basically just gambling centers, you know what I mean? Now they got a little smarter, they put up a little wall, you can't see the people gambling, but you know, that's what they are. You go in and you see 10 cars outside and you're the only one in the store. And they're making a lot of money, but it's not coming back into the community. And we have to stop these predatory businesses from coming into the community. I say at least a 10-year moratorium. We got enough gas stations. We got enough storage units. They've been selling us out for years, and we have done nothing about it, myself included. That's why I'm running for office, because we have to stop this stuff. This is what's bringing down the community.
Thank you. Nicole Massiah.
I think one of the ways that we can improve economic development here in DeKalb County is being more attractive to some of the businesses that we actually want here in DeKalb County. There's a number of things that we can do to facilitate that. Again, for me, it starts with leadership, but within that, it's streamlining some of our permitting and licensing processes so that, you know, it's not that the businesses are expecting that the county actually necessarily respect their bottom line, but understand that they actually have one. Make sure that there's other infrastructure put in place as it relates to affordable housing as well, and the roads and code enforcement. Those things that businesses need, or the businesses that we need and want here in our county, have the infrastructure in place, have the security in place to know once they invest into our county and put those businesses here in our county, that they're going to have businesses that sustain year after year after year. Or else, I mean, again, this is business. Why would they want to come into a county when they can't do, they're uncertain about whether or not their business is going to be well taken care of? The other thing as it relates to public safety, right? We need to make sure that we're improving that as well. Same point, to make sure that the businesses are protected also. But I understand definitely the proliferation of gas stations and some of the predatory businesses, but in order to have the businesses that we want and we need here in our county, we have to make it advantageous to do business here in DeKalb County.
Thank you. Tommy Travis.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What is your greatest priority when it comes to economic development in District 3?
To get it better. I mean, frankly, the Bureau of Labor Statistics recently quoted as of mid-2024, the unemployment rate in DeKalb decreased by 3.2%. So we're going in the right direction as a county of a whole, but that does not necessarily speak to South DeKalb. In South DeKalb, economic development does not come without fixing the underlying problems. The underlying problems with public safety, the underlying problems with the educational systems, the underlying problem with infrastructure, the underlying problem with roads and drainage, the underlying problems with transparency. So we have a lot of work to do, but you have to have a commissioner who can get the job done. I understand the process. I understand the red tape of DeKalb County. I understand the business. I understand how to get stuff done. You have to have a commissioner who comes in after the special election, hit the ground running from day one and move on the things that need to be moved on here in DeKalb County. Economic development is a top priority. Make no mistake about it. But you have to have a commissioner who can get that done, because unlike, well, I would say I'm not giving you promises. I'm giving you facts. The things that I can do is what I say I can do. I don't make any promises. I don't make any false promises. I don't make any empty claims. Things that I can do, I will do. And I'm the best man for the job. And I hope you guys will move in that direction and know that economic development is a holistic problem that we have to solve all underlying problems. Thank you.
Thank you. And that is all of our questions. We're going to move into a 1-minute closing statement for each candidate, starting with Andrew Bell.
I always go first. I'm your commissioner. If you want word salad, if you want people that's been in the government messing things up, don't vote for me. You know, I'm your guy that's gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna be at the meeting supporting you. This money's coming out of my own pocket. This year, I think I got $150 from donations. So this ain't something I'm doing just willy-nilly. I'm losing money. So, you know, this is not a game for me. I grew up here. I've seen the community go down, and I want to fix it. Put me in office. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole Massiah.
By far, I'm the most qualified candidate here in terms of relevant experience that you need as a commissioner from day one. And it's important because there is no training wheels on this position. After the special election take place, we have to swear in and be ready to go. We don't have time to play games and try to figure it out at that point. The most qualified, and I care. I've been committed to service day in, day out. Started out as a teenage mom. And yes, I'm fortunate now to be able to say I swore into the U.S. Supreme Court, but that came with hard work, dedication, and commitment to my constituents, to my clients, to my clients and the folks that I get the benefit and the privilege of representing day in, day out. I'm committed to doing that for DeKalb. That's exactly why I'm here. I hope to have earned your vote, and I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Tommy Travis.
I am the most qualified person for this job. Why? Because I have the years of experience working with DeKalb County. Why? Because I know I've had a hand and experience with the policy-making decisions for DeKalb County. Why? Because I have a plan and I have the tools and the resources to get it done. This is a grassroots campaign that started out a year ago without little or no support. Through the efforts of many of you in this audience, I've had donations, and many have included me and blessed me with the resources to continue to this point. Up to this point, I've had endorsements from, I'm the only candidate who's endorsed by the DeKalb County firefighters. I'm the only candidate who's endorsed by the Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council, and I'm the only candidate that's endorsed by the Teamsters Local 728. So with the endorsement of those organizations and those of you out there, and I'm out in the community every day. You can find me every day. So please look for me, and my website is Tommy T for District 3.
Thank you. Lastly, Jake Walls.
Yes, I have served DeKalb County. I'm still serving DeKalb County. I want to continue to serve DeKalb County. I don't really care to sleep and to just, let's just sleep on the matter and let's not pay attention to what's going on. I'm ready to be that forward-thinking voice for District 3. I'm ready to be the person that's going to be that leader, because it's proven that I'm already a leader. It's proven that I'm already a servant, because that's how my heart is. That's what my heart is automatically. And it's proven that I will include you. You need a forward-thinking leader. You need someone that's going to make sure that this community not only builds on a strong foundation, but continues to build to make sure we have a proud, safe, thriving community that we will be proud to call home. And if you want that, you should elect Jake, because Jake will get the job done. That's what Jake do. www.jakefordecalb.com. You can look me up, or you can ask me questions, or you can ask around and see what I've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give all these candidates a round of applause. Want to thank Leadership DeKalb for organizing this forum, and I really want to thank all of you for coming out here tonight, getting informed, learning more about the candidates. Thank you all so much for participating. I want DeKalb County to have a real deep bench of really qualified elected officials, because these are the people we are sending out in the world. These are the people we're sending to Congress, to Senate, and that's why it is so important to get involved and get informed. Please remember, early voting starts October 15th. If you want coverage of this forum and our Q&A, please visit decaturishvotes.com. And that's all I have. We good? All right. Good night, everybody.